Welcome. If you're a parent or guardian gearing up for the upcoming school year, you totally know the feeling, right? That sudden wave of administrative dread that hits the moment you realize, oh no, it's time to enroll the kids in school again. The endless paperwork, tracking down records, stressing over deadlines, it can honestly feel like a massive mountain to climb. But hey, don't worry, because today's explainer is going to be your ultimate compass. We're taking all the guesswork right out of Nevada school enrollment requirements. We're going to translate those dense state rules and district quirks into a super clear, easy-to-follow roadmap. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. To get you totally prepared for a seamless first day, here is our agenda. We'll be hitting up 1. The enrollment essentials. 2. Navigating those tricky immunization rules. 3. Exemptions and conditional enrollment. 4. School types and exceptions. And finally, 5. Your ultimate prep checklist.
Starting right off with Section 1, the enrollment essentials. This is what schools usually ask for.
All right, before we get too deep into the weeds here, let's just establish our baseline. In Nevada, state attendance laws generally require kids between 6 and 18 to be enrolled in school. Simple enough, right? But actually getting them through those front doors, well, it's kind of like packing for a cross-country road trip. You wouldn't just leave home without your ID, your tickets, and your luggage, would you? Well, think of these 5 core documents as your absolute travel essentials. You're going to need proof of age, which is typically a birth certificate. You absolutely must have proof of residency, like a signed lease or maybe a recent utility bill, just to show you actually live in the district. Then you'll need health and immunization records, and we're going to talk a lot more about those in a minute. You also need your own parent or guardian ID. And finally, if your student is transferring from another school, you'll need those previous school records too.
Now, you might be wondering, hey, can I just bring these documents in one by one as I find them? Honestly, you really shouldn't. And here's why. Individual districts and charter schools have their own weird little administrative quirks and procedures. So compiling a complete, comprehensive packet before you even start applying is absolutely the safest way to avoid frustrating delays. Gather the whole shebang first, double-check your specific school's website, and then make your move.
Moving on to Section 2, navigating immunization rules. Definitely the biggest hurdle to enrollment.
So state law is incredibly strict on this front. A child simply cannot be enrolled in a Nevada public school unless the family submits proof of immunization compliance, period. And this brilliantly illustrates the broad spectrum of required vaccines, which, really depend on your child's age and grade level. We've got the standard required category, and that covers vaccines for polio, measles, mumps, and rubella. Then there's the additional core category. That steps it up to include protection against diphtheria, tetanus, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, and varicella. It's a pretty comprehensive list for sure. And trust me, schools are going to check these records meticulously before they hand over a seat in the classroom.
But, here is an absolutely crucial question that actually catches a lot of families off guard. What happens when your child changes grades? Because, see, enrollment isn't just a one-and-done deal that you finish up in kindergarten and then never have to think about again. As your kids grow up and move through the education system, the rules actually shift on you. For example, making that big jump to middle school, that triggers brand new requirements. Specifically, 7th grade requires additional protection against pertussis and meningococcal disease. And I really want to give a huge warning here. Please do not just rely on an older sibling's experience from a few years back. These requirements get updated. Assuming your younger kid is perfectly fine just because your oldest was fine, well, that's a quick ticket to a major enrollment delay.
That brings us to Section 3, exemptions and conditional enrollment. We are navigating the gray areas now.
Look, we all know life isn't always perfectly straightforward. Medical situations pop up and families have deeply rooted beliefs. Nevada law totally recognizes this and provides some specific legal workarounds. So there are 2 main exemptions here. The first is for religious belief, and that one requires a specific written statement that you provide to the school. The second one is for a medical condition. Now, for this medical exemption, a simple handwritten note from a parent is not going to cut it. It strictly requires official documentation from a licensed physician or an advanced practice registered nurse. But the absolutely key takeaway here is this. If you provide this legally recognized documentation, schools literally cannot refuse enrollment based on your child's immunization status.
But what if you don't actually qualify for an exemption? You're just kind of behind on the paperwork. Let's say you just moved from out of state. There are moving boxes everywhere, or maybe you're just waiting on a doctor's appointment next month. Well, that is exactly where conditional enrollment comes in. This is a temporary allowance that helps families start school while they're actively out there gathering the required records. It's an amazing safety net, really, ensuring your child's education isn't just sitting there stalled out by administrative backlogs.
However, we gotta be super clear about the stark difference here. Conditional enrollment is strictly temporary. It requires your active follow-up, and it comes with hard, non-negotiable deadlines set by the school office. It's basically a ticking clock. Full compliance, on the other hand, is permanent. That means you're either fully vaccinated according to the schedule or you are officially legally exempt. Just never mistake that conditional status for actually crossing the finish line. All right, Section 4, School Types and Exceptions. Does your destination change the rules? So far, we've talked mostly about traditional public schools, but Nevada's education system has multiple pathways. Now, what's really interesting about this is the rules regarding charter schools. Under Nevada law, charter schools are legally considered public schools for enrollment purposes. That means the exact same strict state attendance and immunization rules apply to them, even if they use some sort of lottery system or operate on a totally different calendar. Private schools, on the other hand, follow separate statutory rules and handle their own admissions entirely. But, practically speaking, most private schools in Nevada are still going to ask for the exact same core immunization records or exemption forms anyway. We also definitely need to highlight a really vital legal mechanism called the McKinney-Vento Act. This provides both federal and state protections that ensure immediate enrollment for homeless, migrant, and highly mobile students. If a family is experiencing housing instability, the standard paperwork requirements we talked about, like proof of residency or immediate medical records, cannot be used to keep that child out of the classroom. As this powerful quote perfectly states, a school should work with the family to remove barriers rather than delay access to education. It's so true. If you, or maybe someone you know, is in this vulnerable position, please know that every single district has a dedicated McKinney-Vento liaison or a student support office. Their specific job is literally to help you navigate all this and get your child seated in a classroom right away. And finally, Section 5, your ultimate prep checklist, the map to enrollment success. Let's move to and see how this builds. We've covered the rules, we've talked about the hurdles, and the exceptions. Now let's transform all of that complex stuff into a highly actionable procedure. Think of this as your perfect stress-reducing game plan. Step 1, collect your proof of age, like that birth certificate and your parent ID. Step 2, gather those current immunization records. And remember, double-check for those grade-specific updates we talked about. Step 3, confirm your address documentation, just making sure it matches the district's requirements. Step 4, request previous transcripts or report cards right now if you happen to be transferring. And Step 5, check for online enrollment options. So many districts let you upload digital copies of all these documents now, which literally saves you an entire trip to the office. Oh, and one final, incredibly important piece of advice to add to that checklist. If your child has special health, disability, or language needs, please mention it immediately during the enrollment process. Don't wait around for the first parent-teacher conference. Speaking up early ensures the school actually has the time to fully prepare the right resources and supports, making sure your child is set up for total success on day one. So, I want to leave you with this thought. If we can conquer something as complex as state enrollment rules, just with a little bit of early preparation, what other bureaucratic hurdles in your child's educational journey might be simplified just by getting organized today? As you've seen, while the state definitely has strict rules, especially around immunizations, the process itself is entirely manageable if you compile your complete packet early. A little bit of prep completely eliminates those frustrating administrative delays. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now, go get those documents together and have a fantastic school year.